And now, our feature presentation.
It is the 31st century. Ulysses killed the giant Cyclops when he rescued the children and his son Telemachus. But the ancient gods of Olympus are angry and threaten a terrible revenge.
Mortals, you defy the gods? I sentence you to travel among unknown stars. Until you find the kingdom of Hades, your bodies will stay as lifeless as stone.
Ulysses, the way back to Earth has been wiped from my memory.
Father! Oh, Father!
You are alive, my son.
Well, time to get the LSD out. They definitely don't make them like this anymore. Welcome to another episode of It Could Have Been a Classic. So, hello, and we're going to be talking about Ulysses 31. Many of you will remember when it was on the BBC in the 1980s. This came out in 1982, was based on the legend of Odysseus. Apparently in Latin it's Ulysses. I'm getting hyper intelligent. They made 26 half-hour episodes of this insane, beautiful cartoon, and there was some controversy with it as well. But firstly, there was a pilot episode that has been leaked. It was slightly different, and they went back and altered the ship and some of the characters, which is interesting. There was also a legal battle, a copyright issue with some of the music, which obviously was resolved. Now, I was about 18 at the time, and I was in like my first job, and I used to get home for 4 o'clock from work, and this was on at 20 past 4. And no, I think it was around 20 past 4 or 20 to 5, I don't know. I had 2 younger brothers, and they used to watch He-Man, and then I remember turning this over, and this was starting, and this is all I cared about. And I used to record the episodes. And I was absolutely hooked on this series about where this were going to resolve. So you've got Ulysses, captain of the Odyssey, and his companions, Numenor, Zotra, Telemachus, his son. They have to go back to Earth to see his wife. It's like the original story from the legends about going back to see his wife, and obviously there's other people trying to marry her. This is what I assume they're talking about at the beginning, because there is an episode where this plays out, set in ancient Greece. And I was hooked. He had the energy shield, a lightsaber, blaster gun, and the robot. They had this cute little robot, Numenor or something. It could lift boulders. We're only small, but it lifts like 60-ton rocks. And the ship were cool. Now, I never really came across much memorabilia for this over the years. I once saw a ship on TV, And that was the only time I'd seen the Odyssey. Now, obviously, you can get hold of it because of, with eBay and all that. And then the video library got the odd episodes in over years. And I did rent the 1 or 2 out, but you never got the full series. And then I remember going out one night and I came in and at 3 o'clock in the morning I was absolutely hammered. And I watched the final episode where it's set in Hades. So that's how I got my connection to Ulysses. Well, recently I picked up the DVD set from CEX and I've just finished watching it all, and it was, I have to say, mind-blowing. So let's get into Ulysses 31. Now, this was a totally insane. How this were made for kids is beyond me. No wonder we're all fucked up today. I mean, this was so trippy, and the stories in this were just so, adult. And Ulysses and his adventures with the gods. I mean, the animation to this were just marvellous. I mean, the weird, trippy-like effects. But the thing is, you were there rooting for Ulysses all the time, every week, and you get these images of the gods like these pictures moving towards you. And some great episode. The one with Circe where she's building this tower and she's changing. She catches ships in orbit and she changes all these crew members into pigs. They all become slaves and they're building this massive tower. And if you were a kid, this would have freaked anybody. I mean, I was 17, 18 at the time, and this blew me away. And I am a massive science fiction fan, as you know. I mean, the first episode is a classic, the Eye of the Cyclops. The Odyssey's in motion. They find a planet in the way of the ship, and this ball of energy comes and it kidnaps Ulysses' son. And they end up, Ulysses obviously goes in pursuit and he battles the Cyclops with his crew and he takes it out, and they're all blind, the servants of it, because it feeds on children's energy, and he defeats it and the gods lay judgment upon him, and we're into this universe of Olympus with this artwork of the Odyssey shattering the barrier of ice into the universe of Olympus. It's just mind-blowing. And then every week it's there was one episode with a god who were in ice who's massive, and the effects when he's breaking free of his chains, I think it was Atlas or something like that, and it was just crazy. And then we jump to the final episode. I mean, honestly, the Circe one is one of my favourites. That really freaked me out. That was episode 16. But when we get to the final episode, that is totally, utterly insane. But in the final episode, this is what I love about this series, because it's a full story. It's is they finally get to Hades after all these adventures and meeting the shark men and all these other gods and wizards and sorts evil entities that serve the gods, some at dope, and the gods playing the games. He gets to Hades and wow, my god, that's freaky. It's his crew were disembarked, they're all floating around this kingdom, and Hades is saying, you can go, but I'm keeping your crew. And Ulysses is arguing with him, and then they're going to change him to stone. And then it all gets weird, the judgment of the gods and all this. And it's this is the afterlife. And there's all these bodies floating around. Everywhere he moved, they're floating around after him. And it obviously defeats him. He wins the trials and they let him go. And we get a happy ending where he returns to Earth. And that's it. But it is a classic, is this. Now, I'm not really, I don't like animation, I'm in and out with it. I don't mind some of the superhero stuff. I still think the Justice League cartoon was the best for me, this is definitely up there. This is something I would keep, because you go back to it and you can watch it. Now, this came out on DVD years later. I never got around to buying it. I only picked it up recently. So I'm glad to have this in my collection. I saw it and I had to have it. But the writing for this, all of it, I mean, we never got a season 2. I always thought we'd get like Ulysses 31 doing something else, you know, because it opens up an entire universe here. And the potential for this, I always thought this would have been turned into a film. I really did. I mean, even there's character development in this cartoon, which just makes this awesome. So, like, this is just a quick one, but is Ulysses a classic? Could it have been? Definitely. Ulysses just flies through the door. And I'm going to say Ulysses 31. I have enjoyed all 26 episodes of this. And it's amazing. I'm just so glad I got to watch, like, the whole story. So, Ulysses 31, you are going through. You are a classic. Please leave your thoughts and comments. I look forward to hearing from you. So I will say, live long and prosper, and I will see you on the next episode.